This is the 8th video of the Forged Fiction series. If you haven't seen the other videos in this series, check out the Forged Fiction playlist on our channel. You can click on the link in the description or click the annotation on the screen. But let's jump right into Ephesians. Back in the day, people realized the stylistic discrepancies in Ephesians in comparison to Paul's other letters were massive. But they figured that the spirit and the nature of the Pauline mind vindicated it. But in the 1800s, scholars started to notice more errors. The letters contained much that was foreign to the apostle, as well as the lack of a clear Sitz im Leben, or setting in life, no characterization of the recipients, and no obvious situation to which the letter is being addressed. Scholars noticed that it has a close relationship to Colossians, which we already know is a forgery, so Paul is already out of the question. There would be no reason Paul would imitate this in another one of his writings. We could end there, but that wouldn't make for an interesting video, now would it? A famous claim made is that out of all the words in Colossians, 34% of them appear in Ephesians. And out of all the words in Ephesians, 26.5% appear in Colossians. But that doesn't do much to help the case. To find more damning evidence, let's move to some of the individual instances. Ephesians 6:21-22 repeats 29 words, omitting just 2 from Colossians 4:7-8. There are 3 other passages which share 7 words in common, Ephesians 1:1-2 and Colossians 1:1-2, Ephesians 3:2 and Colossians 1:25, Ephesians 3:9 and Colossians 1:26, and there are other shorter similarities. We can also examine writing style. Nothing like the analysis of Colossians exists for Ephesians, but we'll make do. The author of Ephesians loves long and awkward sentences, as well as strings of participles, strings of infinitives, and repetitions of prepositions. The question is not whether Paul was capable of writing in this way, but simply of whether he did. With respect to the long and complex sentences, one frequently cited statistic claims that 9 out of 100 sentences in the book comprise more than 50 words. This stands out in sharp contrast with passages of approximately equal length in Paul. For example, Romans 1-4, which has just 3 out of 585 sentences over 50 words. 1 Corinthians 1-4, which has 1 of 621 sentences. 2 Corinthians 1-3, with 2 of 334 sentences. Galatians, with 1 of 181 sentences. Philippians, with 1 out of 102 sentences. 1 Thessalonians, with 1 out of 81 sentences. Paul could obviously write long sentences, but it wasn't in his characteristic style. Pointing in the same direction of style is the structure of the letter, which looks, at first glance, roughly Pauline, but is distinctive within the canonical corpus in containing both a blessing, 1:3-41, and a thanksgiving, 1:15-23. The word usage points in the same direction, in view of its occasional distinctiveness, although this is obviously not compelling per se. Still, the interesting thing to note is that this author prefers the phrase "in the heavens" to Paul's "in heaven." He refers to the devil instead of Paul's Satan, and uses the very non-Pauline phrase "good works." No matter how you look at it, Ephesians was not written by Paul. For further reading, check out On the Historicity of Jesus by Richard Carrier, David Fitzgerald's Nailed, and Bart Ehrman's Forged. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter, and if you like the content, please consider dropping a like and subscribing. Be sure to share if you learned something, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, it's just as you assuming it's nothing but these humans would like to blame mythology for everything they're doing. They pray for non-existent gods to clean up the mess, but never take responsibility, just claim it's a test. See, that religion you've been given is shit and it's all poison. And it's partially the reason we bleed and it's all poison. Your worldview is poison, your outlook is poison. Denied all you want, but the truth is it's all poison.